I do think he's upped his usage of the PEDs.
So Moist Critical calls me out, says that I'm back on steroids, has a whole bunch of accusations. Here's what I have to say back. I'm taking testosterone. I'm also doing a growth hormone, really what's considered HRT or TRT.
Being on a private jet is the furthest possible thing from primal living.
The name is Liver King, not Liver Caveman. Critical was ashamed of even showing his own face. I know how that feels.
In every TikTok I've seen of him, his body is bright red.
You don't look like this when you're 100% natural.
There's nothing you can take to look like Liver King. My supplements won't do it, but there is one thing that might do it. If you take Greg's supplements...
How long is he going to be with us? And so...
That might actually do it. That's worth a shot. I would do it.
So 9 months ago, Derek from More Plates, More Dates, myself, and the guy who's editing this video, Alex, we worked really hard on a video called The Liver King Lie. The obviously important part of the Liver King lie was the smoking gun. It was the emails wherein the Liver King had stated exactly the anabolics and growth hormone that he had been taking, all the while lying consistently, blatantly lying over and over again on podcast after podcast. That was the big part of the video. But my part, and the part that I really wanted to share, and the part that Derek was very interested in as well, was the aspect of charlatanism. And I think what's important is what a lot of people said after seeing the Liver King lie was, if you believed he was natty, you're an idiot, or water is wet. There's nothing new here. And the point that I was trying to make in that video specifically was none of that actually mattered, because he was still existing at the highest level. He was still regarded very highly, even though we all knew he wasn't natural. We allow winners to win over and over again, or at least someone that we would project as a winner. These charlatans, as long as they're making a lot of money and they keep moving and they keep producing content, they're going to be allowed to just continually do things. And in this case, it was lie. There was a big UFC event where they were like, oh, look, there's Halle Berry, and there's someone else, and there's the Liver King. It's like, we all knew he was lying. We all knew he wasn't natty, but yet it didn't matter because he was kind of our like lovable heel. And what I wanted to point out was that the lie wasn't just that he wasn't natty. The lie was everything leading up to the position he was in. Everything was encompassed by the lie. He is not as forward facing. He is not as viral if he doesn't have the body that he does. And the body that he swore was based off of his ancestral tenets, all of which would lead you to the product. These are factual. This is the funnel. It's quite obvious what the funnel is. Create a viral image of yourself and lead people to buy whatever it is you're selling. And the thing was, the viral image of yourself, the very basis of that pyramid, the very bottom section was your physique, and that was the lie. It's important to know that. You know, myself and Derek, we were constantly saying to each other, like, none of the stuff he's saying is sexy at all. None of it is something that we would necessarily really disagree with. In fact, we brought that up multiple times in the documentary. We're like, yeah, eating animal organs is great, has incredible vitamins for, all these ancestral tenets talking like the importance of getting the sun on your face, the ground on your feet, physical fitness, friendship, all this stuff is really great stuff. And none of that is sexy. But what is sexy is a massively jacked dude throwing spears, eating all of this really exciting stuff. So here we are today. Charlie, or Moist Critical, made a video on the Liver King. I think in the video he was accusing him of continually using PEDs. But I think the general take of the video was just to talk more about what I had just talked about right now, but also say that the guy looks a little rough around the edges. So Liver King literally within this last hour just dropped a video responding to that. I think he's addressing whether he's on PEDs or not. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it yet. We are going to watch it together. Let's just jump right into this video.
I do think he's upped his usage of the PEDs.
So Moist Critical calls me out, says that I'm back on steroids, has a whole bunch of accusations. Here's what I have to say back. Moist Critical, you're late to the party. All you had to do was go to liverking.com. All of it's there. All of it. I guess here's what I'll say.
Look, we're stopping it already because it's almost like the character comes out immediately. And this was the big issue that I had with the apology that he had. A lot of it was still remained in character. Like, I would have loved to have seen him put on a shirt and talk to the camera. The things that I was much more interested in hearing from him, which he very slightly touched on, was his incredible lack of self-esteem and his need to be massive, to work out so goddamn hard. It's definitely an affliction. And I think this ultimately is the grift, right? Somebody who lacks this self-esteem, somebody who needs performance-enhancing drugs, who needs to work out very hard. This is not somebody who's going to guide 1 million or so primals. And then you multiply that, right, by trying to present yourself as this image in social media. I mean, we all talk about it consistently. Social media can bring out the worst in people because they're trying to present something that might not be who they are. And if Liver King was just able to talk about his experience with that, like, I would have been genuinely interested. But instead, he deflected, basically tried to make himself into a martyr, like he was doing this for other people, which he, honest to God, might have done. But doing something like this, like lying about every little thing to promote something good, I don't necessarily know that that's a good thing. People could argue against me on that, but that's my take.
I didn't lie to anybody when I went on the podcast and I started talking about my earnest commitment to go natural. So this year, starting on January 2nd, I went 220 days without any steroid, without any growth hormone, without any peptide, without anything synthetic. If you call eating a pound of fresh, raw bull testicles every single day natural, then I've been natty as fuck for 220 days. There's been a lot of accusations. You don't just get more shredded and more vascular and more yada, yada, yada when you come off steroids. Once again, if you go to liverking.com and you see the stats page, I'm providing weekly updates. So I was about 206 pounds in December, and then I got all the way down to 182. So I've lost over 20 pounds. You know, and anybody who interacts with me in real life will tell you I look leaner. For anybody who doesn't believe me, all you have to do is look at my social media photos. Look at it from December to now, and tell me that you can't tell the difference.
Okay, so this is, honest to God, still something that I'm just not interested in anymore. Like, I'm just being dead honest with you guys. I'm not interested in whether or not he's really on gear. I got to be, again, honest with you. Like, it's hard to believe him. And he shouldn't really be that upset with people that they don't really believe in his integrity. And, you know, it's really interesting, my experience in Olympic weightlifting and just sports in general, and covering sports and covering a lot of steroid use and PED use. It's like, you just never know. We are in an era now where it's like, I hate to say, oh, everyone's on steroids, but I also, you know, it's hard to say, oh, that guy can tell you 1,000,000 times over that he's not on steroids or that he's never taken steroids. He can take a blood test, piss test, and it could say that it's not, it could say he's clean, but we still would never really know. And it's always between whoever is the accused and God, which is a damn shame. But if I was a betting man, it's hard to say that I really believe him. It might be a fun experiment to get off of testosterone for, 220 days, like he said. And I don't know. It could be true, could not be. I think I want you guys to discuss in the comment section if you actually believe that. But I'm leaning towards just going on something light, like if he did HCG and then enclomiphene, and then, that's not necessarily going completely clean, right? Like it's safer to go that route. You go off of testosterone for however many weeks, then you start HCG, then you start enclomiphene, and you can still look really goddamn good. But then after 220 days, your testosterone levels, after you drop everything, are not high at all. And you're like, well, this is my life now. Look, he's got 2 kids, a wife. He's got this life. Totally, man. Get back on TRT if that's what he's kind of getting at here. I think he's saying
Massive difference. I'll tell you what I don't like. I don't like the idea of losing over 20 pounds of muscle. I don't like the idea that became the reality of losing a lot of strength. My 1 rep max strict press was like 255.
So why though? Why? You don't like being as strong. Why? And that is what I was trying to touch on before in the apology. If you find value in being that strong, that's fucking awesome, because a lot of us here do. But just admit that. And it's hard to say, in a way, Derek and I and Alex, we set this guy free. Because now he can come out and say, look, I want to be strong again like I was before. So I'm going to get back on TRT. And that's cool. Do that. But he was in this very weird place where he couldn't really say something like that, because he was lying about the gear use, because he needed to promote this thing. As if you couldn't promote and talk openly about gear use at the same time. As if guys like Stan Efferding haven't been doing that for years. Mark Bell, my boy, Mark Bell.
So I've decided to go back on it. I'm taking testosterone. It's a cream. I do 3 clicks of it a day.
TRT protocol.
I'm also doing a growth hormone.
HRT.
It's 2 clicks a day. Really what's considered HRT or TRT. It's hormone replacement therapy, managed in the normal range, not a supraphysiological range. So why am I getting back on? I've done what I need to do. I've proven what I needed to prove to me. The commitment that I made to my boys, to my family, to all the primals out there, is I would never lie again. I went on record. I went on to my...
Okay, so the thing is, proving what you need to prove to yourself and then proving what you need to prove to the audience. I totally understand that. But the reality is, if you want to prove what you need to prove to yourself, you really should... if you're posting consistently online, it's more about others and others' perception of you, which again is totally okay. That's part of the industry. But look, I don't know. I would hope that a guy like this just sits down and talks with people, does some sort of inner work. I know, especially in this situation, and can really hang back and pull away from everything and focus on what really matters. And I hope to God, and I think this is true, he loves his family and has a good family life. And I hope that self-worth is back within him some way. And honest to God, if he hops on TRT just to have some fun, that's cool. But it would be nice if he felt like his self-worth wasn't tied to his actual physique and his ability to lift.
Website. I went and said, I told it all. Anybody, like I said, if you're late to the party, that's fine. You can go and you can look at the confessional, why I decided to go back on. I've done what I need to do. I'm living my life by my terms, not somebody else's terms. People get really wrapped around the axle when I talk about technology.
Being on a private jet is the furthest possible thing from primal living. I think he has a luxury $20,000 mattress infused with diamonds. This is clearly all just marketing.
They say, Liver King does X, Y, and Z. He flies in a jet, he drives a car, he lives inside of a house. The name is Liver King, not Liver Caveman. I didn't show up one day and say, me Liver Caveman, me go back in time, live like ancestor brother, make fire, technology bad. And I didn't say any of those things, What I believe is that ancestral living is the path. It's these things that have nourished us for millions of years, that enabled us to evolve to become the baddest mammalian predators that ever lived. Happy, healthy, robust, fulfilled. What's ancestral as fuck is technology, right? When we left the comfort of the cave and we figured percussion technology, to sculpt a rock into a bifacial blade, to learn how to throw a spear, a projectile, to be able to kill at a distance. Technology, by definition, is a utility to advance the interests of the person and or the tribe. I believe I use social media as a utility. I use it to curate.
Okay. So that is where I'm going to disagree. There was a lot of self-interest. Using technology as this altruistic thing is definitely a possibility, but the biggest part of the Liver King lie was that it wasn't altruistic. It's even stated in the email. Dude wants to blow up. And then in the apology, continuously, or didn't actually talk enough about it, but he dropped the fact that his self-worth was down the shitter. and that you can't, those two things can't really exist at the same time. You can't have this altruistic viewpoint of social media in that it's doing good for you and your community, but also have this horrifyingly bad self-doubt and issues with your self-worth. And so in a way, it is marketing, and it is like this kind of self-serving thing.
This is clearly all just marketing.
Here's the thing. I never wanted to do the Liver King. Anybody who knows me, especially me who knows me, I could have never given a public talk. I tried. It was crippling. Words didn't come out of the mouth. It was just crippling thinking about it, much less doing it. You know, when I was younger, I hated my life. I hated who I was. I was ashamed. I wanted to kill myself. And I figured a way out of that. And then as I got older, my kids got really sick. It was really these ancestral tenets that got me out of this hellhole. It was the ancestral lifestyle that got my kids healthy, and the light bulbs came on. What kind of piece of shit would I be if I didn't share this with the world? 4,000 people a day kill themselves, and 80,000 people a day try. They see no light at the end of the tunnel. Critical talks about how he hated his own life. Critical was ashamed of even showing his own face.
So, if you guys don't know the Elizabeth Holmes story, I definitely suggest you check it out. There's a really good documentary. I haven't seen the actual narrative feature film that's based off of the story, but essentially Elizabeth Holmes ended up selling this lie, this product that she thought could exist, where you could take a pinprick of blood and then determine all of these ailments with it, and it would just be it became this massive thing that blew way out of proportion. And she continuously lied over and over and over again to protect her image, to do good in her mind. There's one interview in the documentary, and I hope I'm not messing this up, but there was a study, and they had to roll a dice, and they had to tell the person across from them what they rolled. And they had no issues telling the truth of what they rolled because the person across from them didn't see it. And then they found out that if they roll a 5, or if they roll a 4, 5, or a 6, that they end up donating $10 to charity. And what they found was, more often than not, the people who are rolling lied about what they were rolling because they felt that they were doing good. They were lying for doing good. And this is where we do run into big problems. And I'm not as well versed enough, and I wish I was. One of my really good friends, his name's Alex O'Connor. He's the Cosmic Skeptic. Definitely check out his YouTube channel. He is somebody who I would love to ask about this. But essentially, there has to be some sort of axis here. And if we look at the negativity that was kind of surrounding around Liver King and lying, and then we try to balance that with his, false sense of altruism, that's where we kind of like run the risk of just doing the wrong thing. And a lot of the stuff that he's saying here is really valuable. Like, it really, really is. And I think there is constant need for people to say the things that he's saying. If you really believed in them and you really believed in yourself, you wouldn't need to do what Liver King did to deliver that message. Go.
Critical was ashamed of even showing his own face, until I think when he got to 1 million followers or something like that, he did a reveal. Here's who I am. I know how that feels, to have no self-worth. And so I'm thinking, okay, I got a responsibility. I have an obligation. This is my opportunity to make my mark, so that other young men like me don't have to hate their lives.
Please say how it got out of hand.
So that other kids out there, like my own boys, have a decent shot at life.
Talk about your mistake.
This is why I exist today. This is my why in the world. This is why I'm okay. You want to bring the criticism? You want to make the videos? This is fine. Because I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to get this message out. Does the messenger kill the message sometimes? Yeah. I know that I do. Do I ratchet it up? I do. I fucking do, for 2 reasons. Number one, more. I have fun doing it. Like Critical says, I make shit. This is what he says on all of his platforms. I make shit. When you make shit, when you create and you build, there's this endogenous satisfaction. I did this with my bare fucking hands, with my brain. How do I do that? And why do I do it? Because if we don't get eyeballs on the message, then what does it matter? Somebody once said, oh, but...
He got to it for sure. Does the messenger kill the message? Yes. But if we don't get eyeballs on it, it doesn't go anywhere. Man, if that's fucking true, I hate this. Genuinely, I hate this. I'm just not built for it. Like, it's just, it sucks. It sucks to hear that because I don't know if it's true or not, you know? In this case, like, I believe that the Liver King killed the message. And, but again, we have the push and the pull. If we don't get eyes on it, it doesn't matter. Okay, but the way in which we're delivering the message. You know, ultimately, if you're doing something for the good of someone else, it can lead to some bad things sometimes.
If you just change that one guy's life, it means everything, doesn't it? It doesn't. Because I could go change my boys' lives. I could spend more time with my wife. I could spend more time just with my inner circle tribe. I can have impact here. What I'm here to do is really share and cast a net so fucking big that we have an opportunity in our lifetime to change the trajectory of human health.
And he'd lead his followers to believe that if they purchase his supplements and his supplies and eat like him, they could look like him. No matter how closely you follow his ancestral tenets and no matter how many of his products you buy, you will not have a body that looks like his unless you also get on all of the gear he's using in the same amounts of it.
I've never said, taking my supplements, you're gonna look like me. What I have said is, make sure to get the early morning sun, get your bare feet connected, grounded, anchored into the earth so that you can express your highest and most dominant form. You, to express your potential, not to look like Liver King. There's no amount of working out, sleeping, eating, moving, shield, connect, cold, all of this stuff. There's nothing you can take to look like Liver King. My supplements won't do it, but there is one thing that might do it. If you take Greg's supplements.
How long is he going to be with us? And so, of course, you can buy
Great
products
ad
from me.
placement
They're
right
not
there.
banned by water. And, of course,
Great
the
ad
cookbooks,
placement.
training books.
That might actually do it. That's worth a shot. I would do it. And by the way, it's not even about looks, right? It's about family. It's about tribe. If you look at the way that Critical suffered, when Critical hit rock bottom, it was Ancestral Tenet 9 that saved his fucking life. The bond, finding his best...
So this is, he can just switch into character. He can take something, he can joke where you think he's real, he can talk real, and then he can just character himself. It's not about looks, he says. It's about family. It's, you know, it's like, but it was, and it still is. If it's not about looks, you don't need to have your shirt off. You don't need to show off selfies. I'm sorry. At some point, there has to be someone just checking this dude on the verbiage that he uses.
In every TikTok I've seen of him, his body is bright red.
You don't look like this when you're 100% natural.
There's this accusation that I look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Total Recall, that I'm all red and I'm about to explode. To me, this is a great compliment because I want to be exploding, growing, expanding, sharing the philosophy of abundance. So why is Liver King so red? Part of it might be because I like to bathe in blood. You know, another part of it probably is because if I'm on the camera, I've been working my ass off. I'm overheated. I just did a workout. You know, Liv, you come meet me face to face.
It's not about looks, but I want to be exploding.
And if you still think I look red, you know, we can figure that out together. We'll do an investigation together. But I hope I've given you some of what you need. And Coach Greg, your tan's looking pretty on point. Ancestral Tenet 7.
The 7th ancestral tenet is sun.
Okay, Critical. I know that you were late to the party, but the party has just begun. I'm issuing and offering a formal invitation for you to come to Liver King Ranch. I'll give $100,000 donation to a charity of your choosing when you come out here and see that none of this is an act, that this is actually how I live, my queen, my boys, and that my bed does not have diamonds laced through it like you're accusing me of, that might have some guns underneath the pillow. But you come out here to Liver King Ranch to prove that this is not what I say, this is who I am, this is how I live, this is my commitment. So we can do some goddamn good in the world. Let's connect, let's make it a party. It's the power of a tribe. Let's light it the fuck up! Liver King, out.
I don't know. That'd be interesting if Charlie takes him up on that. $100,000 of charity sounds fucking amazing. I would be chomping at the bit of that for that, but I don't think Liver King even knows who the fuck I am. And that's okay. That's okay. If Charlie wants someone to accompany him, I would gladly do it. This is something that I have discussed ad nauseum on this channel. And I don't think I'm done, because charlatanism will just always exist. And my genuine goal is to get people who are in situations that I was when I started training, and to kind of guide them through. And I try to do that as honest as possible. And that's partially one of the reasons why I am such a stickler about people's verbiage, the things that they say. And I notice these conflicting things consistently throughout Liver King's speech. So that's the reaction, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please click like and subscribe. And let's try to get out to Liver King's ranch. Let's fucking do that. If you guys could spam Liver King or spam Charlie or whatever it would take, I think that'd be incredible. I would love nothing more than to donate $100,000 to charity. I know exactly which charities I would go to. But that's it. See you guys later.